Hey, what's up, guys? It is Slick, or Slickmoff here, back again with another video. And on your screen right now, you should be watching gameplay from Spider-Man PS4 with the Sam Rami Spider-Man Suit. So that's obviously really cool that they implemented that in the game. But I really more wanted to talk about not it being implemented in the game itself, but rather all of the drama that actually was around the situation. So basically, in case you're unaware, a lot of fans on Twitter were very impassioned about getting this suit in the game. A lot of people, myself included actually, were introduced to Spider-Man via these movies. You know, the Toby McGuire films, Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. And so, I remember watching Spider-Man 1 and kind of falling in love with the character. So, I get that. I totally understand it. But at the same point, it was a little bit excessive with even the community manager of Insomniac saying that he received death threats over including the suit in the game. So that's obviously absolutely silly. But I will say this. I just will say that my experience with the Spider-Man fan base and community, also known as the Spidey Squad, engineered by, or kind of led by Evan Filarka, who kind of created that in 2016, but overall, just more broadly, even before then, Spider-Man fans as a whole, it's generally a very positive community. Very passionate. There's no doubt about that. I would argue probably even more passionate than Batman fans. Just in regards to kind of being nitpicky about certain things. That's what I mean by they're more passionate. Not necessarily that they love the character more. Although I think for some fans that's the case. But I think that there is a very loud vocal minority of people that are perhaps a little bit aggressive and excessive in demanding what they want when they want it. But on the whole, I can't really say anything negative about the Spidey Squad. I've had nothing but incredible interactions. I think it's a very positive community, and I don't even, it's kind of a dissociated measure, where I don't know the people that were sending the most egregious or aggressive messages probably were not in the Spidey Squad at all, at least not an official member, because I know many of the people within the organization, and they would not be the type to do that. Certainly Evan would not. But, so it's probably not Spidey Squad members, if I had to guess. But what I mean to say is more broadly, the Spider-Man fan base and community is very positive and incredibly, quite uplifting, if I may be frank. So, with that being said, it is a little bit excessive what happened around the suit. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, it's been in the pipeline for a couple months, and it wasn't really people begging them to get the suit. That might be possible. I don't really know. But there is some level of feeling over me when the suit came out. I think that you're supposed to be really happy when something like this comes out, that you're really excited about. New Spider-Man suit. It's a really iconic and classic one, so that's cool. But there was a little bit of kind of resentment within me, feeling that they kind of just caved to what people wanted, and people kind of whined enough, and they got what they wanted. And in some sense, that's a little bit less rewarding, right? It's one thing to be really passionate about something, but it's a whole other line to be aggressive, threatening, death threats, all of that sort of thing. And even though it's a minority, it wasn't just like one guy. There's several people being very aggressive, spamming them with tweets about the Sam Rami suit. And after all, it's literally just a digital virtual suit on a video game, right? So, and I made a rant on Twitter that I ended up deleting, I think, but I kind of just had more broad concerns. Why are people so obsessed with the suit in particular? And, I kind of made a plea in that video to try to branch out to other things. Read some good comic books and watch some good animated movies and that kind of thing. I just feel like a lot of people that were really insistent on getting the Sam Raimi suit have, kind of seen Spider-Man 1 and 2 and maybe 3 if they really hate themselves, 90 times. And they're borderline obsessed, literally obsessed, not with Spider-Man as a character, obsessed with these 3 movies in particular. And I remember when I was probably 12, 13 years old, it was that way with me for The Dark Knight. I've seen that movie probably over 50 times, but I haven't seen it in several years. And the reason why is I already know what happens in it. And even though I love the movie, I prefer to read new comic books, Batman comic books that I've never read before, with new stories. And I say all of this to say is, kind of try to branch out a little bit with not only what content you're consuming, but entirely which characters, and that means genres as well. If you read a lot of comic books, maybe try reading, fiction books. If you're young, young adult fiction. If you're older, Stephen King is really good stuff. I just feel like people got really it's like an unhealthy obsession with those three movies. And as I said, it's one thing to be obsessed with the character. It's a whole other thing. And I guess I just don't really understand it because, you know, like I said, I've seen The Dark Knight 50, 55 times, easily, maybe more. And I would say I was obsessed with that movie. But at the same point, for, you know, Batman Arkham Knight, I wasn't like tweeting Rocksteady every day to get that suit. It took them several months to put it in the game. And, you know, there probably was also fans that were really, really aggressive about getting that suit. But, so I understand. People are really passionate. People love, I love the enthusiasm. Just, I think people should tone it back just a little bit in terms of the edginess of that. And more broadly, the obsession with that one suit and those movies in particular is a little bit alarming. And I'm glad that you love them and, you know, keep watching the movies, I guess. So that's not really the message I'm trying to say. I am just trying to say, like, you know, why are you just so invested in this suit? There's so many other really cool Spidey suits that you should be interested in getting as well. And I don't know. I understand that people might have seen, like, read other comic books, and this is still their favorite, and that's cool. I just mean to say that it seems to me that there's a lot of fans that, like, have just watched the Sam Raimi movies, like, a million times over, and that's, like, their entire world of what Spider-Man is, in addition to maybe some video games. And, you know, I would just encourage you to maybe branch out, and that goes for not just Spider-Man, or just any content in general, because, you know, there really is a point where you can get to an unhealthy level of obsession. I was borderline there at The Dark Knight. I mean, I have like 17 Dark Knight posters in my room, and but it's a little bit different with this. I mean, I wasn't sending death threats to anybody, so that's kind of the moral of the story. But anyway, Sam Rami suit is in the game. As I pointed out, there's a little bit of this feeling within me of being kind of, I don't know, just torn. It's just a little bit kind of upset that we got the suit. I almost, in a sense, hope that people didn't. So people learned that, you know, just screaming and yelling and throwing a fit doesn't work. I mean, we're not 2 years old asking for a lollipop at, you know, the grocery store. I mean, it's time to grow up, and, you know, so that's kind of the moral of the story. But I also wanted to make this video to point out that I don't really think that this is endemic of the Spidey Squad at all, and certainly not the Spider-Man fan base at large. As I've said, I've had very, very good experiences with all those guys. So I think that those people are a minority, but for those people, I would suggest maybe curbing your obsession of that one portrayal of the character and, you know, really branch out to some other great Spidey stories. The character's been around since the 1960s. In terms of comic book runs, I mean, you have tens of thousands of issues of comic books to begin, so you wouldn't even know where to begin if you haven't started yet, which is overwhelming, but I think that, you know, you can do it, especially if you love the character. You're going to love the comics. And it's just my experience looking at those people's Twitters, right, that were like very insistent about the Sam Raimi suit. You go to their Twitter and their bio is about Sam Raimi Spider-Man. Not just Spider-Man, but it's about like the 2002 movie that came out like 16 years ago. It's like kind of odd. But anyway, okay, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comment section below. My name is SlickMoff. I'll see you guys in the next one.